It's 2025. I can't believe it's 2025. I see this guy looking at me. I'm like, Jesus, how'd you get to be this old? Like, I get it. It's crazy. And I get that I don't look like the standard person that tells you things. You know, I want you to have short blonde hair, like blue eyes, clean your shaven face and whatnot, and be a little bit lighter. Can you be just a little bit lighter? You know, we have to get past all that shit. This is the year of honesty. Look at what's already happening this year. Like, holy fucking shit. Welcome back to the Trump years. Remember how you've been running around saying that, well, I don't quite know what's going on, but I do know that things was much better when Trump was in office. Welcome back, man. Terrorist attacks and, it's already just bullshit. And I'm sorry, but like talking about the car situation, the truck situation as a terrorist attack is as it's as fake as the shooting. That's I mean I don't understand what's happening here. Is it because all of the old timers who knew the secrets, how to pull things off, they're dying off? I'm not really sure. I mean, think about it. It's like even with movies, right? You watch movies from the late 90s, early 90s, they were capable of making some really realistic looking shit. And it seems like since that time we've gone downhill. Anytime I see fire in a movie anymore, I'm like, what the fuck am I even looking at? Have these people seen fire before? Never looks like fire. It looks crazy. It seems like we've regressed. And we live in a day and age when lots of people, damn near everybody has a cell phone, and lots of people have two cell phones. So that anything takes place and it's not being recorded, like especially at an event or something, and with all the surveillance cameras that are just everywhere, from Ring cameras to like government cameras all over the fucking. Where is the footage? How do we keep having these things happening and there's no footage of it? Every time we're supposed to believe a narrative that's like fishy, and then you can see where it furthers an agenda, then it doesn't make any sense. It's bullshit. When there's a shoot, like, gang shooting take place. Well, I mean, some bullshit took place. Sure, we can see that. As much as I hate it and as much as it's manufactured, you can see it's bullshit. When it comes to everything they give us, it's like, oh, well, you just have to believe a bunch of shit that doesn't actually make any sense. But you still have to believe it, because if you don't believe it, you're a bad human being. It's not good for you for asking questions and seeing things and at least trying to get to the bottom of things and make yourself feel better. We don't want you to have any misconceptions. We don't want you to have any falsehoods. So by all means, ask away. It's not like that. Oh, you've heard about Thermate? Oh, well, don't worry about it. Oh, you watched the PBS the official NIST documentary about what happened on 9/11, and the animation that they show you to prove their pancake theory literally shows the center column staying put while the floors collapse around it. Your actual computer model doesn't even back your fucking. But I'm supposed to just believe it? Just found you. I'm glad you're here, Karen. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm starting to get throttled, I think. They're not gonna they can't let me keep going. They can't. The last thing they need is me getting popular. Because I sit here and point out shit that's like, it doesn't take some conspiracy theory. It just takes you asking simple questions. You know? It's just simple questions that we should all be asking ourselves, like, where is the goddamn footage? This is 2024, 25. Where is the footage? Things don't work that way. You know, you don't get away with crimes nowadays because somebody's always recording and there's always a, that's what they say. I can think of like at least 6 people around me that have Ring cameras and security cameras and all that right around me. This is I'm tired of being presented something that I feel like I would have to be stupid to believe it. And it's insulting. I feel like, how dare you insult me like that? You have to do better. And like I say, the production values have plummeted. Their ability to seemingly pull things off. And maybe it's just always been this way, but because back then they had, the total control over the narrative that we were given and the couple of news outlets. And I mean, it's really hard to even imagine it anymore. I have a hard time imagining it. I lived through it. See, Messenger, look what I'm playing. Definitely. I have a hard time with it. I have a hard time remembering what it was like prior to cell phones and how it was clearly better in a lot of ways, but it's also this amazing thing to have in our hands. Like, this is how this thing connects us all. This thing gives us all information. All of us, I've known Karen now for like 2 years, and I wouldn't know Karen without this medium that we have. She's in Scotland. When was the last time random Michigan guy, connected with random person in Scotland? That didn't happen until very recently. Like, we're on the precipice of this really, really amazing sort of advancement in humanity. We were one way up until the internet and cell phones, because the internet was still a thing, but most people, they didn't really fuck with it. But this notion that you could just be bored fucking around and scrolling through your Facebook feed and see something, what's this Tartaria, and just fall down a rabbit hole, or people can post about the Rothschilds, people can, you can stumble across my shit. That's not something that ever existed before. We've never been here before. Look at it. The pinhead. You see? You get that? You know what the pinhead is? That's the person with I forgot what the condition's called, but they have like literally like they're physically and mentally handicapped, deformed. They have these super small heads. They call them pinheads and big teeth. Like, you've seen them in history, you've seen them, but that's what that character is. Get it? Microcephalia. There you go. Thank you. Microcephaly. Yeah, that's what it is. Look. Only dumb Jays think shit like that's funny. Only dumb Jays make those kind of fucking, like, lazy jokes. It's lazy. To include shit like that in your repertoire of, like, oh, I'm gonna burn. That's lazy. I'd rather burn you about how stupid you are because you support pedo shit, because you support, the cutting and sucking. You support the idea that women's vaginas are disgusting. You support slavery. You support genocide. Like, you're a piece of shit because you choose to do these things. I'm going to roast you for the things you choose to do, not the way you happen to be born. I'm definitely not going to support you being overweight. I think that's unacceptable. It's not one. I'm not saying you got to be skinny, but obesity is a fucking, it's a terrible, terrible thing that they've put on us. We need to address this honestly because it's 2025. It's the year of honesty. Like, only Jays are stupid enough to sit there and say shit like it's supposed to be an insult for them to be like, he's a J too. Like you're only Jays are stupid enough to think that way. But they're horrible. They're horrible, horrible people. And we need to be honest about it. Why would you ever support anything like that? Do you see what they do? Let's lay it all honestly on the table. Okay, so what did they honestly bring to the table that makes you go, those are good people? Just because some have been nice to you in your life, that's not them as a people. That's what they're supposed to do. We outnumber them far too much for them to be rude, like for them to be awful all the time. So, they're awful all the time, but they smile in our faces because they have to. They can't physically overtake us. So they like I tell this story a lot. I knew this girl. She was a dental assistant. Really beautiful girl. Not stupid, but not super smart, but not stupid by any means, but just really like a good girl, good woman. She started working at this practice as answering phones fresh out of high school. Or maybe a couple of years, whatever. But it was a dental practice, so obviously it's a J. And over the years, he would send her to different get different certifications and whatnot. She became a dental tech over the years. So she was telling me that, no, I have it wrong. She knows, she works for one. The Jays are wonderful people. I'm mistaken. When I saw Eminem in Glasgow, ended up in the first day tent as the only time I met another Detroit dude. Guy blessed the women. Yeah, right. Right on. Damn, I shouldn't have done that because I always forget what the fuck I'm talking about. God damn it, what the fuck was I just talking about? God damn it, I hate when I do that. I need to stop reading comments before I'm done with my thought. It's because I give everybody that respect of paying attention to what you're saying, and then I forget. And there might be some other reasons, I don't really know. What the fuck? I can't believe it. And the thing is, as soon as I thought I'm going to forget this, I forgot it. I probably would have remembered it, but I forgot it. What the fuck was I talking about? It's so far gone now. It's so far gone now. Yeah. Dental good. There we go. Thank you. Right. So she says that, the Jays are good. The Jays are good. So I say, all right. She tells me that she had been asking questions and he was like cool with her asking questions and stuff. So I say to her, all right, well, ask him about the Talmud. See what he says. She said the Talmud. I said, just ask him about it. So all right, here you can have this one for a little bit, but I'm going to need it back in a bit. So he says, here, I'll drop it down. Whoa. So she asked him about the Talmud, and he tells her that it is kind of like how Christians have the New and the Old Testament. The Talmud is the Old Testament. The Torah is the New Testament. That's sort of what he said there. And I was like, wow, that's absolute bullshit. I can't believe he said that to you. I spoke to her that night. Next day, she calls me. She's frantic and crying. I'm like, what's going on? She says, I don't know. We were just doing something, and I asked him something. I can't even remember what it was. She might have said what it was. I don't remember what it was. But she said he just snapped at me, and he yelled at me, and just he made me feel like a piece of shit. Because he said something to her like, you just need to know your place, or some horrible thing like that. And I was like, I'm really, really sorry. I'm not going to tell her I told you so, but I told you so. Like, they're fucking horrible people. So I'm like, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Just keep your head down and don't ask him any more questions about Judy, about any of it. And she was like, all right. So she calls me the next day, like the next lunch, on her lunch break, and she's like, you won't believe it. I got to work today. He calls me in his office. I'm all worried. I think he's going to fire me. He ends up giving me a $3 raise and tells me I'm really a great, valued member of the team. And that was that. We didn't address anything that was brought up. He just gave me a $3 raise. You ever heard of somebody getting a $3 an hour raise? I mean, it's one thing when you're like a big wig or something like that. But this girl was like just a regular, she was a good employee and everything. But $3 an hour raise out of the blue, didn't ask for it or anything, and actually had just gotten yelled at and all this other. And I said, look, now I can say I told you so. Because that's how they operate. They treat you in a horrible way so that you feel like she said, like she just felt like he was completely talking down to her. And that she was beneath him. That's how he made her feel. And then afterward, they bribe you to take it. And you'd be a fool not to take it. $3 an hour in a job that, she barely graduated high school, if she did. I don't know, GED, I don't remember. But she wasn't going to go anywhere else. She wasn't going to do anything else. This was what she's going to do for the rest of her life. She had a really comfortable living wrapped around it, blah, blah, blah. She loved her job. She's not going to give that shit up. So he bought her. And I said that, congratulations. Like, that's how that, I don't at all blame you. You're not trying to fight this fight. Just understand what happened. Like, that's what happened. And I hope it works out well for you. Like, I know you don't want to fight this. She was trying to convince me that I was wrong, that they're good people. She was telling me how that they don't pay for their dental work. That he bills the JLA or whatever it may be, one of those organizations that has all this money set aside for them. He bills them at 75% of what it would normally cost. So the people get the free dental work. The dentist gets 3/4 of the money he would normally get, but he gets it all at once, so there's no payment or anything. And everyone's happy. What's up, bud?
Remember my pet?
Yeah, sure.
Well, his upgrade just evolved him to where he has a shotgun. He just soloed 3 heavy gunners.
Cool. I'll come check it out in a minute. Okay, Thaddeus says, I've been arguing with my J... I'm not going to do it. With my J friends. My other friends were like, Thaddeus, you were too hard on him, LOL. But I don't know how delusional some of them can be when it comes to all things Israel. They didn't. He would keep talking to me, but he has cuz he knows I'm right on some level. Oh, he absolutely knows. The one thing you're going to see is that he's not going to actually engage you on what you're wrong about. He's more so going to tell you that you can't say it. Either you can't say it or like other people do it, but it's never like they deny what's going on or they don't say, oh, this isn't. They just tell you you couldn't be, you couldn't possibly understand. You don't know what you're talking about. Like that kind of like, it's just mean spirited. They're stupid. They are stupid. I mean, it's there is you're asking stupid, irrational people to explain something that is stupid and irrational in a rational way. And that's your fault. Right? Like that's where you're the fool for thinking that you're going to get anything other than that. Here, I love this. Me and my 2-story basement, right? So, when you have these dumb bots that come in that can't actually debunk anything I'm saying, and they start getting desperate, so desperate that they'll say anything, because what I'm saying is bothering them so much. But there's nothing they can do about it. They end up making up stupid shit. And if you're willing to make up something that I can so easily debunk by just looking out the window, that goes to show anybody on here that person has zero credibility. They're willing to say anything. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. Anything to try to get somebody to stop listening to what I'm saying. This is what they do. It's a shoot the messenger type of thing. They're always trying to get you to stop talking, get other people to stop listening. But I mean, the easiest thing to do would be debunk everything I'm saying, make me look stupid, and then I'm like, I retreat with my tail between my legs. That's what I'm trying to do with your shit, and you're actually doing it. Your tail's between your legs, and you're doing these desperate snaps back, but you're not doing anything. You're just some dumb fucking dog, some street shitter. Oh, let's see. Let's see this honest. I am right. Thank you, Purple Kitty Kelly. Wearing the same clothes as before. Yup. I'm wearing the same clothes as I was wearing yesterday. And never mind that I used to work at this place, so I have lots of these shirts. Nah. I should be concerned with how I look, because what I'm saying isn't what matters. Here we go. Here's one of those same dumb things they do, right? Because I actually address what's being said. It's not that they can't debunk what you're saying. You're not coherent enough to understand. Yep, that's what it is. Either this person is just like they don't know what coherent means, or they're just desperately, stupidly saying whatever they can. Which one do you think it is? Imagine they make bots to follow this dude around while he's among me. Yep, that'd be crazy, isn't it? It's crazy to think that Israel has multiple black ops organizations like Team Jorge that actually still exists, as never was disbanded. Team Jorge bragging as having as many as 40,000 bot profiles at their disposal. That's just one. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of Israeli black ops organizations, each with access to this software, this AIMS software. But to think that they would, oh yeah, why would they want to follow and try to disrupt somebody that makes them look like the total piece of shit, stupid savages they are? Gee, I don't know. Keep up with the brilliance, please. Please give us some more. Listen to the stream of consciousness. It's enlightening. Great food for thought. It's not stream of consciousness. It's well versed, learned and researched the way it is. And the real proof is in the comments, right? Just think about it. There are people that are specifically here to like talk shit and be mad, and they're mad at the guy that thinks we need to cut off Israel and use that money to kill pedos. They support pedos, they support Israel. They're here and they're mad. But instead of actually like addressing anything I'm saying, they just come up with they do address things. They actually prove that they can address things by saying things like, it's not that blah blah blah, blah, right? So they can hear what I'm saying and let me get a date wrong or let me get some math wrong or something like that. They're quick to point that out. But yet they can't seem to debunk anything I have to say when it comes to Israel, the Jays, religion in general, all of this stuff. And they're really, really mad. For some reason, they're really, really mad. Right? It's just stupidity. Oh, I hate you so much that I watch you every day. And yeah, I know you keep calling me a pedo and I don't deny it. But you're a bad guy. Like, who's gonna do that? Who's seriously gonna say, like, what could you say? Everything you say is incorrect. Everything, yeah. That's a smart thing to say there. That's smart, because, So there is no Team Jorge? That doesn't exist? That's not something that was exposed? You guys, I don't want to debunk those, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you can't. You can't debunk anything I'm saying because you're dumb. It's not like some mystery. You're just dumb. This is what dumb people do. It's really obvious. It happens all the time. If you could, you would. So instead, you're like, no, I'm not here to be in any sort of intellectual conversation about the number one trending topics in the world and how we can fix the blah blah. I'm not interested in that. I'm here to randomly talk shit about you. Stuff I just make up. Stuff that's easy to debunk. Yeah, no, that makes more sense. I totally believe it. It's just me. You just don't like me. I'm just not your fucking cup of tea. I get it. Ooh. You hate me so much, you keep coming back and keep watching and keep watching. And yep, I get it. That makes sense. While being called a pedo and a genocide supporter, neither of which you deny, but it is what it is, right? Let's see. I don't support Israel. You are why people shouldn't do drugs. Yup, that's what it is. And that blah blah. Oh, stew cats. We got a cats here. Gotta love cats. They always have good things to say. Did you just go by that? Wrong going on, blah blah blah. You by saying it's not wrong to call you. Yeah, what? A manipulator will accuse you of what they're doing. So, yep, that's what it is. Right? That's what it is. It's not that the stated purpose of this feed is to cut off Israel and eliminate the Jays. Eliminate all religious control, really. And then use that to kill pedos. And then, if you have an issue with that, you are more than welcome to tell me what your issue is. If you can't tell me what your issue is, I'm left to assume it's the pedo stuff, because that's the final solution, if you will. And again, this isn't even like, I'm not even going like, super smart here. This is really basic thing, and I'm hoping you can understand it. I'm hoping I'm dumbing it down enough that you can understand it. But it's really, really simple. If you can't tell me what your issue is while I'm talking about these specific things, and you seem to want me to stop talking about it, and all you're doing, you come here to talk shit, well, then you should address what that is. If it's because I don't look the right way for you, that's understandable. I get it. I mean, I get that you could be like stupid and shallow like that. I can't imagine doing that. But if that's what you're doing, at least that would make sense. But when you don't actually have a reason why you're so upset, why you would waste so much of your life here making up dumb nonsense over and over again. Well, I have no other choice but to throw it out there that you probably are a pedo. And when you don't deny it, well, that says a lot more than I think you realize. Schizo ranted right below the person calls me again schizo. Like, I love all the people that call me schizo. Again, do you guys not know what words mean? Do you know what a schizophrenic is? Do you understand? Like, that's not, I'm not sitting here looking out the windows. Hey, there's people in the bushes. What? That's not what's happening here. Right? Schizophrenic is hearing voices and all that other shit. So if you're gonna talk shit, you have to do a better job. No, because I don't support Israel or Jews, dude. I agree with you on that. Cool. Cool. My Gary V's brother, obviously. Don't you love how people blame drugs because you don't subscribe to the same? They blame drugs because they have nothing to say. It's not because of that. It's because what you're saying is shaking them to the core, and they want to be able to say something to sort of defend their nonsense because you're essentially talking about what they believe and who they are. But because you make sense, they're then going to try to shoot the messenger so that either that they themselves or somebody else watching can sort of get out of it. Well, yeah, this guy might be saying things that are, but he's crazy, so I don't have to pay attention. Blah blah, and they can they can distance themselves by saying that. Like Dave said, don't call people crazy. That's dismissive. It's just it's what they have. You have it's all they have. They when you're arguing with truth, they can't say anything. There's nothing they can say. Holy cow. Talk about project. Yep. You judge by look. Yep. I judge by looks, clearly, because I can clearly see what all you dumb fat people look like. Why are you always bathing around? Mm-hmm. See, look at this. Look at the dumbass non. You could say anything. You have the floor to say anything and to say, dude, you're wrong about this because of this. And they never do. They're trying to distract it. No, they're not. They can't trigger me. And they're not distracting me. This is a part of the same thing. I'm trying to show you, like Thaddeus, a lot of the times you're somebody that says you need evidence, right? Well, there's not going to be evidence for a lot of this stuff that I can just be like, all right, here, check out this piece of paper here is a signed affidavit from the Jays of the United States saying that, yep, they are blah, 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 You're not going to get that. So you have to read between the lines and you have to ask yourself, what real people would be on this feed angry and talking shit about the guy saying we need to end the genocide, end the people that are doing it, and definitely end these pedos? Who is going to oppose that? That's your evidence. You have to be able to see it. So I have to address these things because, this is the evidence. This is the proof. If it wasn't, if it was anything else, then they would say other shit, right? They would address other shit. If I was wrong about anything, they would address it. That I'm speaking to all of you when I'm talking about. Look, if you're questioning whether I'm telling the truth or whatever, ask yourself, why I get the response I get. Why don't they just smash me and tell me what I'm wrong about? Not what. Tell me why and how I'm wrong. They can clearly come up with all kinds of stupid shit to say, but instead of actually addressing anything, they're more concerned with me walking. Because I never look at videos where anybody moves in the video. Every video I look at is somebody standing still all times. Talk about specific things. The U.S. liberty, etc. No one's debating. I'm not being vague. The USS Liberty is. We talk about that all the time. What I'm more concerned with is the mentality. You want to talk about there are way less people talking about things like liberty than say Trump this and that. But the problem is our mentalities. We have to address the mentality. It doesn't matter how much information is given to someone if they don't, what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson said it. When Joe Rogan asked him how he handles flat Earth stuff, he said, I don't argue with people. I don't argue with people about what they think. I tell people how to think. Because when you control how people think, what they think is secondary. And when I heard it, I was fucking angry. I was like, these idiots, right? I was like, what the fuck? I was saying dumb shit. Because I hate the guy, right? But it makes all the sense, right? If they have you believing in religion, if you believe there's a God, well, that God gave this book, and that book says the bad guys in the Bible, not Satan, the bad guys in the Bible, the people that killed Christian God's kid, your superhero, the different religion that killed that God's kid, says that those people are his chosen people. Like, that's some stupidity on levels I have such a hard time understanding how it works out. But it's not talking about specific events that have already happened. Those are in the past. The past is the past, and we need to start looking at the right now. And what's happening right now is most people think they're not allowed to even talk about these things. That's the mentality we have to break through. Before we can have the conversation, we have to get through to all those people who think we're not supposed to even say these things because those are God's chosen people for some fucked up reason. Yep, that's what it is. And we flick up on your feed. Still forgot. Yep. You see this? I mean, look at these dumb comments. They can actually muster up the strength to say these things, but they can't muster up the strength to actually say, you are wrong about this because of this. Crazy, huh? Can't tell this guy's been right about. See? Look at this shit. And then you get the occasional, regular person, the purple kitty Kelly, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. You're making sense. You're not saying anything crazy and conspiracy and blah, blah, blah. It makes sense. Let's just make sense of it. Let's be honest and make it make sense. I call it the LeBron James theory, right? So the LeBron James theory states, I get off this live feed, I get a phone call. They say, Guy, congratulations. You have been chosen to play a game of one-on-one against LeBron James, where every basket you make gets you $50 million, gets a charity of your choice $50 million each basket, and we punch LeBron James' wife in the face. This game will be the only thing that's on TV for the next week on every channel all across the world. And, you're the representation. So be ready tomorrow morning. I'm not going to score a fucking basket. I'm going to get my ass just handed to me. I'm going to look like a 46-year-old fucking, old man trying to run up and down the court with this fucking monster of a human being who's trying to protect his wife from being hit in the face. And I'm gonna lose a gazillion to nothing. I'm not even gonna get like a Hail Mary. He's gonna block everything I do and make me look like total shit. And for the next week, I'm gonna have to go into hiding because everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck, man? You could have really made a difference. And blah, blah, blah. You couldn't even score a basket. Blah blah blah." Everybody's gonna be pissed because that's the only thing they're gonna watch, and and it's gonna remind everyone from here on out that no matter what happens, us everyday goyim will never beat the pros. We'll never beat the king. Now, I get off this feed, and the phone call comes in. Guy Williams, in 6 months, you and two of your friends, two people of your choice, are going to play LeBron James in a game of 3-on-1 where you make $50 million a basket. You get $50 million for a charity. We're going to punch LeBron James' wife in the face. And it's going to be the only thing that's on TV and yada, yada, yada. Well, if I'm smart and I'm strategic, I'll be able to pick two pros. They didn't give me any stipulation on who I can pick. So I can pick two weapons that are the very best weapons I could pick. And for 6 months, we're going to, not just the three of us, but everyone around us is going to be encouraging us. Hey, we got to get up. We got to practice. We got to work hard. Those days where you might not feel good, the people around you are going to, nope, come on, man, we got this. We got 6 months. We're playing the king. We got to do this, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to be able to come up with plays. We're going to be able to, figure things out. I'm going to get some skills. I'm going to get some wind because I'm going to be able to actually fucking play for more than one run up the court if I got to practice. And when that game comes, we're going to score a bunch of points. We might not win. I mean, depending on who I ended up getting, if I was able to get two like Giannis, and that would be a whole different story. But if it was just regular, we'd at the very least score a few baskets, and LeBron would still probably beat us that first time. Depending on how many times we played, we'd eventually win, no matter what. And that video would, be the only thing that's on TV, the only thing being broadcast. Well, that's going to inspire people. That us regular goyim, if we team up and we work hard, we come up with some plans. We can overtake the king. We can win. Yeah, we might not win the first battle, but we're gonna win. And that's this time that we're in right now. We're in that 6 months, right? We're in this time where we need to be working on, our mental stability and our ability to hear the truth and our ability to address the things that are real. You have to be okay with the idea that your shit might not be real. Let's look at it. Let's look at what do you know about, like, it's so weird to me. It's so weird to me to think how many people walk around claiming to be Christian and they don't know shit about it. They don't even know like what the book says, let alone why they are the Christian that they are in 2024, 2025, whatever. I so dig that. Probably. If all you talk about is just do it without filters. Can't. It's the one group we're not allowed to talk about. If I was talking about Christians all day long, I was talking about Muslims all day long, I was talking about politicians and the Jesuits and the Hollywood and, as long as I'm not talking, I can talk about whatever it is. Talk about racism. The only thing is I can't seemingly talk about are the Pokes and the Jays, which go hand in hand. So until it's like money, right? money is this illusion. It's this bullshit. But until we can override the system, we need to use the system against itself. So we need money to be able to override the system so that we can make it so that we don't need money anymore. Probability and planning. Oops. Yes. Yes. This is like one of the things that they've done. One of the most brilliant aspects of what they've done is tricking us into thinking that the conspiracy is this this crazy thing that we can't comprehend. We can't wrap our head around it. They're in these rooms doing satanic rituals and gaining magic powers, and they do all this, and you're a Christian, you don't want to touch those. Like, if you bring up satanic stuff to fat black women, they're like, oh Lord, Lord, no, 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 I don't even want to hear about it. No, 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 no. Like, but these are, I'm not saying it's a satanic ritual. I'm saying, this is a ritual that the Satanists do. No, 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 no. I don't want to hear it. Get that out of here. Lord, Lord, it gets goofy. It's goofy. Oh, Brian, you want me to take a bath? So, did you want to watch me take a bath? Like, is that what you're saying? You want to watch me bathe? Or is it you're saying I'm not, I don't look right for, like, how do you prefer your dudes to look? You like them to have maybe a different haircut, maybe a cleaner shaven face? Is that how you like your dudes? You want to watch them take a bath, you weirdo? You're sick. Y-O-U-R sick, he says. Exactly my point. That's what I'm up against, really? You're sick? Yep. Get some help. Yep. I'm the sick when you watch me. So what's that say about you? Goofus. They always make me laugh. So you have to ask, like, what's that person's motivation, right? What is it? They're clearly not, like, they don't belong at the big boy table, right? They still have to sit at the little kid table conversationally. Yet something motivates this person to try to, like, lash out at me. Like, I'm forcing myself on him. Like, he's here because I'm making him be here. And then you see these comments, you cry harder. You cry harder. Like, am I dealing with, like, somebody that's like a dumb high schooler or something like that? I don't even get it. I don't agree with everything, but you're right about a lot. Hey, I appreciate it. You got the you're right and everything. Look at that. But what I'd love to know is what you don't agree with. That's what's most interesting to me, because if you don't agree, that might be something I'm getting wrong. So let me know what I'm getting wrong, because I don't want to be wrong. So if there's something specifically that I'm getting wrong, please engage. Like, I appreciate the pat on the back, but I don't need it. I'd much rather learn from our interaction. So if there's something I'm missing or something like that, by all means. I mean, it's either that or I got to deal with cry harder. Like, it's so stupid. Easy. Come on. Don't bow down to that. Or don't lower yourself down to that stupid level. They're just stupid. Let them be stupid. This is a prime example of what the average American sort of is, man. This is that we have to figure out how to breach that communication gap with the average stupid American, because they make up so much of the population. What up, Easy? Woke up quick. at about noon. Just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. Oh. And what did you know? I reached back like a pimp and I smacked the hoe. Love that version of the song. Submarines. You're really stuck on submarines. Did you bother watching the first 9 parts of the video of the series? Because again, you could tell me I'm wrong about submarines, but you're not telling me, how I'm wrong. Like, I hate getting into it. It's such a dumb distraction to me. It really is such a dumb distraction that I have to like say, go ahead, just go watch the first 9 parts. If you can show me the underwater footage of a submarine that looks real, I'd love to see it. If you can explain how they went from no nuclear powered subs to now all of a sudden they have nuclear powered subs. I mean, the whole thing is just stupid. It really is stupid when you think about it. When you think about like the compression and how much pressure is on the sub and how that adjusts, like that changes every foot they go down. It's more and more and more. Yet if they go up, if they hit a current or they go up or whatever, that's going to lessen the pressure, and that would mean the hull would have to be expanding and contracting, and it's just stupid. It really is stupid. It's so much more difficult to be in submarines than it is flying planes. So much more difficult. And it's one of these things that you believe because you're supposed to believe it. You don't have any reason to believe it. You just do. Not only have you never been on a submarine down deep in the water, you never will be. You've seen them all. Well, then you should have a lot of answers because that's, I've put forth a lot of arguments. The idea of pulling air out of electrolysis, what? Pulling breathable oxygen out of distilled seawater, separating the oxygen from the hydrogen through electrolysis, and then creating, I guess, a whole bunch of fucking hydrogen? I don't even know. Like, it's stupid. It's just stupid. It's stupid and it sounds complex, and the average person would feel stupid trying to understand it because it just doesn't make any sense. And you think, oh, well, I must be too stupid to understand it. That's why it doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't make sense because it's stupid. It's stupid. The number one argument, right? The number one argument, it's 2025. Show me a video of a submarine underwater that looks real. Show me a video of a camera on the front of a submarine that goes down, goes way down deep, and then comes back up and does all that. Show me that video. Show me a video that's underwater and shows submarines moving around and shit. There's one video that exists that shows a couple of divers like off the coast of Hawaii or something, and this weird, funny ass, goofy looking submarine thing supposedly goes underneath them. I don't even know. And then there's another video it's one camera, and it shows like it's a submarine. It's obviously a model, but it comes by this way, then it comes back like this way, then it comes back this way. And it's like, that's all it is. There's no videos of submarines going around underwater. Just like you'll never see a video on the top of a rocket that shows the rocket flying up into the air and the sky, the camera's on the top of it. And the sky goes from blue to black and stars. And you'll never see that video. These are really, really fucking, like, it's 2025. You saying, look at that? Yeah, that's what it must be. Because I'm making arguments that you can't simply debunk and go, oh, well, there's a simple reason for this. It must be that I'm flawed. That must be it. Right? Who's going to volunteer themselves to be like the example of the stupidity I'm talking about? Oh, me, I'm going to say something stupid. It's just so crazy. And why would you have so much invested in it? Like, why do you want to believe it so bad? Don't you ask yourself that question? Why you want to believe in submarines? Why do you want to believe in magical space stuff? Submarines are absolutely real. I am not a liar. I have seen them operating across Florida. It was 100% real. Submarines. Yep. You saw a boat. Clearly, you're off the coast. So you're looking at something way out far away that you just see come out of the water. That they definitely have boats that can go under the surface of the water. They don't have boats that can go deep down swimming around like a fucking dolphin and shit. That's not how it works. And the whole concept of surfacing and all that shit, like, it's just stupid. It's all stupid. We've all seen boats that can go up and down in the water. They have lots and lots. They have countless videos on YouTube showing people riding where most of the boat is underwater and they're sitting out on the top of it on the conning tower. You know? And they're standing out there and they're flying the flags. There's lots of videos like that. Lots of them. And then there's tons and tons of videos on the inside of the submarine where they're seemingly unaffected by motion. That's the other like smoking gun, right? How are they so unaffected by the motion of the submarine? If you've ever been on an airplane, a train, in a car, and the motion deviates even a little bit, the speed slows, a bump is hit, whatever, you move. If you're trying to walk on a plane, you would think it would be really easy. It's not. Especially if there's any sort of movement. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, sorry. You know? People in submarines, not a move. They can crash through ice and they don't move even a little bit. That's probably my favorite bullshit submarine video that they show us, is the one where it's supposedly ascending 10 feet per second from 90 feet down, and they supposedly crash through what is 4 or 5 feet of ice. Boom! And they actually have a camera on the crew as they do it. And there's like 8 or 9 people sitting in this shot for some reason. There's like the 4 that are sitting there driving or whatever. And then there's like 6 of them standing behind them for some reason, all standing there with their arms crossed and shit, looking at whatever. They look like they're looking at something, but there's nothing to see. Like, there's not windows. There's not even anything to, like, it's just goofy when you think about it. But they're standing there, and the sub crashes through the ice, and not even one of them goes, whoa. They don't move even a little bit. That's just not possible. And you got me talking about subs, and I hate it, but it's just stupid. Love this guy for perspective. Human brains are so interesting. I grew up believing that evolution and climate change were hoaxes. Well, where is evolution? Show me evolution in reality. And climate change it could mean a bunch of things, especially if we live in a manufactured reality. Then climate changes, but climate change is always happening. It's not like, according to the official narrative, it's always been this temperature and whatnot. They always say shit changes. So submarines have air purification systems. Yep, that's an easy way to say it, but do you understand how any of that works? No. Yes, of course you're going to say air purification system. Yeah, of course you say that, but the bullshit behind that isn't real. And they have stored oxygen. Yeah. That again, you're being foolish, man. They claim they can be underwater for months, months and months at a time. You can't store that much oxygen. How do you store that much oxygen in a vessel that you need to sink? You know, and you say, oh, well, they do that with scuba tanks. Yeah, because that scuba tank is a hell of a lot heavier than you think it is. And there's a hell of a lot less air than you think there is. No, James. Dumb Jays did 9/11. I was in the Navy as a submarine. Right? Sure you were. I bet you were. We always get these guys. Spent 9 months on a sub in the ocean. There we go. Sure you did. I believe you. I believe you. And I'm sure you went down into the deep depths of the ocean and saw all the crazy underwater. Yeah, bullshit. First of all, what clearance would you have to be able to come onto a YouTube video and start blabbing secrets and shit like that? But we always get this. And I think it's fascinating how people are way more interested in talking about whether I believe submarines are real than the genocide that's taking place right now. Than the incredible pedo problem that exists everywhere. You guys want to talk about submarines? Like, that's pretty crazy. Science and perception are all we have. Well, and the thing is, you don't literally. I'd love to say that the only things you know are what go on in your immediate vicinity. You don't know anything else. But even then, you know, I live with 3 other people. Those 3 people have their own secrets. There are things about my wife there are things about my children that I don't know. So I can't say I know this 100% or that. The only thing I know 100% is me and what I experience. Everything else is just narratives that we're given. And if you look into the history of it, it's bullshit. It doesn't make sense. You look into the history of nuclear powered subs, and in the 1950s and 1952, this ex-Jewish guy who he was Jewish, but he converted to Protestant, because that happens. They need nuclear powered subs, so he just makes them. And then he's the guy that's in charge of the submarine program basically until he dies in like the 90s or some shit. And every single person that's ever involved in nuclear subs from the 50s to the 90s goes through this guy. He interviews and hires and approves every single person that comes through the door. Do you think anybody can just be, put on the submarine team? Do you think you say, yeah, I was really good at basketball when I was a kid, so I'm going to go out and be a submariner. You think the Navy's like, all right, come on board. You just jump right in. You want to be in the subs? Okay, jump right in. That's not how that works. You have to already prove that you're willing to keep your mouth shut and do things that you're not supposed to do or at least keep those secrets before they'll even consider putting you on their fucking submarine program. Yes, you can feel the motion of the sub, LOL. Yeah, well, you can't in any of the videos. Every single video that exists, you see guys climbing up ladders and he'll be there's in the one video he has a protractor and he's drawing circles. He's on a table and he's just drawing away and there's people standing there. Again, they crash through the ice and there's no motion. Wait, I just got back. Had to go to fitness Zoom. Are you saying submarines are LOL? I've been in one underwater because my dad was in the Navy. Why wouldn't there be a submarine? You have not been in a submarine down deep below. They would never let a child just go on a submarine trip down depths into the fucking nether regions. You might have gone in something that went under the water. Yes, they have things that go under the surface of the water. I'm not stupid. You can see those. Do they have the hunt for Red October? No. Blah, 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 blah. There's secrets about submarines. That's nuts. You know, they come up to the to the ocean. My dad was under for 6 months on the USS blah blah, and talking about some set of stuff. Right, talking a substance. Right. Because I want to talk about submarines. And you saying your dad was on one, that means he was. Because if you have the one thing we know about military people is they always tell us non-military people the truth. Especially something like their daughter, who, they know that if their daughter started speaking about things, that it would directly come back on them and everyone would be killed or their daughter could be killed. So of course your father is going to tell you all that top secret shit. Right? Of course your dad's going to tell you that he wasn't really on a submarine. He was, doing whatever. Why wouldn't he tell you that? Blah, blah, blah. You distract us with crazy submarine, believe the creed real because you're questioning something, experience. Okay, again, you haven't. You've not been on a submarine that went deep down in the water. Granted, I was in one underwater for about an hour. Was I under hypnosis? I mean, you don't know what you were in, dude. It's not like it had windows and shit. If you were in something and you were a kid, and it did. It was one of those things that could go almost entirely below the surface, not totally, but almost entirely. You would absolutely, you would believe anything you were told to believe. Why wouldn't you? You didn't go into it skeptically. You've never heard anybody question the validity of it before, so why would you have ever even thought to question it? You believe we can go to space and shit. Why would you not believe this? It's just like everything else. You believe a narrative. Doesn't mean it's true. And the thing is, you say, oh, well, I was a kid and I experienced something. Again, you don't really know. You don't know the history of it. If I ask you about Rickover, you're not going to know who that guy is. If I ask you about, oh, Jesus, 1620, what's his name? I'm brain farting right now. Do you know the first submarine was said to be invented in 1620? 1620 by Cornelius Cord. Oh, what the fuck? Brain fart. Drebel. Cornelius Drebel. That's who it was. Cornelius Drebel invented the first submarine in the 1600s, supposedly. He was also a man they said could make it thunder and lightning on command. He invented a camera obscura, the first cameras. It's in 1600s. Then they sort of yada yada, and in the 1850, there was a submarine that existed that could go underwater as deep as 150 feet, spend 4 hours underwater, and they could open up a hatch on the bottom where they would harvest oysters and pearls and shit. And because the people, they didn't understand the whole, the bends, the sickness from ascending too fast, apparently people got sick, so they just abandoned the sub on the side of the road. But you believe that they could do it. 1850. How could they see underwater 150 feet down? How can you see 150 feet down underwater in a submarine? What we're using for light? Hi, Studios Bingo. That is a more interesting question. I mean, see, it's like there's just so much. There's so much shit here where people just don't want to be honest. I don't care about your opinions. Let's be honest about it. What do you honestly know? You don't know the history of the narrative you're supposedly defending. The Rickover narrative is crazy. This guy was supposedly in Philadelphia, California, and Washington, D.C. all at the same time in 1930. Like the narrative that you're given, this is the highest ranking, one of two of the highest ranking military people ever, and the oldest serving military man ever, and was only the captain of a ship for like 7 days, but they retroactively said he was captain for like 3 months. Like the whole story is bullshit. You don't know anything about it. Why would the government fake submarines? Control, just like everything else. So that we think that we are absolutely, completely closed in. We cannot escape. Not land, sea, air. They got the Space Force. Space Force. Think about it. How come you're not seeing Space Force this, Space Force that, Space Force? You know, do you even see any commercials for the Space Force? Do you anything like that? No. Kind of strange, huh? They fake it because they can control us. They can siphon money in different directions. For them it's money, like they print the money, so it's not about them having more money. But money is to control us. And as long as they keep us with just enough money to survive, then we can't use that money to make things better. We can't pool our resources to like think about what you're told about how supposedly forever the king would want to take over a new plot of land or whatever. So all of the everyday people like you and I would just drop what we were doing and go to be in the king's armies. We'd march to wherever we had to go. And I guess we'd get training or some shit and we'd get fitted for fucking armor and I don't know. Like the narratives are just stupid that we're given. And these again, these are the people that lived in thatched roof mud huts, but we're also building gigantic castles that we still don't know how they built. Churches that we don't know how they built. Skyscrapers. You live in New York, that is. There are countless buildings that were supposedly built in the late 1800s, early 1900s that defy fucking explanation. The Flatiron Building, that's a great example. And all of these buildings, when you go looking into them, for some reason, they didn't document how they were able to build this building in a year or 2 years or what. They didn't take pictures. They were taking pictures of everything else, but not them building all these crazy buildings. Let's see. I mean, the thing is, when you start looking at it, again, I don't understand why the submarine thing makes people so triggered. It really does make people upset. I hate using that word because that word is a PTSD term, and I hate to associate the two, but it really does seem to make people upset, and I don't understand it. Even if I don't believe in submarines, why would it matter? Why would you care? There are people that are come on here and we need to get him and blah. Like, dude, because I don't believe in submarines? What part don't you like? Like, it's goofy shit. When you talk about submarines, I don't understand. When you talk about, I don't. That's not about views to me. When the view count pops up, I'm gonna say what I need to say because the algorithm will stop it. So the people that can hear it need to. And think about it. If that's true, if that's how this thing works, why would it work that way? If the Jays are the good guys and everything they do is righteous and on the right side of history, then why would they care? Especially for someone like me who is just asking them to come engage the conversation. If I'm wrong, then just come tell me what parts I'm wrong about, because from my perspective, it's a really disgusting cult, and I don't understand what purpose it serves, other than to elevate a small group of people to the highest position of control and authority. But, other than that, like, what are we talking about? Alien bases are underwater. Yeah, see, definitely not going down that road. I mean, when you look at the waters, it's clearly, we live in an enclosed system. It's just, it, it's what it is, and people don't want to talk about it. I don't like doing the earth shape argument because it just opens the door for stupidity. And it people say stupid, weird things. Like, people get really, really, again, it's one of those things where you're like, why are you so mad about it? Why does it make you so angry? I wish you were that angry about the church violating children. I wish you were that angry about Israel committing genocide. And yet people don't, they're much more concerned with submarines. It's just the strangest shit. Like, our brothers and sisters, no matter what crazy sky daddy bullshit they've been forced to believe, they're being killed by those who don't look at themselves as our brothers and sisters. They don't look at it that way, so we shouldn't look at it that way. Understand that. Right? Why do you give them a credit for something they specifically don't do? Everything that is not them is goyim. Whether it's people, whether it's beds, whether it's chairs or TVs, that's all goyim. And goyim is there to be, used and service. We're here for their service. We're here to be, to be the cattle. And if you look at how we treat cattle, right? We look at cattle, these beautiful life forms that when they're babies, we go, oh, look at the baby. Oh, it's so cute. Oh. And yet, when it gets juicy enough, I guess, not only do we kill it and eat every part we can eat, we skin it and dry out its skin and then wear its skin on our skin to keep ourselves warm. We crush up its horns and bones and all that shit for medicines, and we use every bit of it. Its hooves for glue and shit, nasty shit. Like, that's how we treat lower life forms. So imagine if another group of people think of us like we think of cattle. Well, isn't that kind of scary at that point? Oh, well, sure they are. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, think about it, man. Think about how every single person that's on here has the floor to be able to say something. Say something. Just like, I don't want to think this way. I've said it many, many times, man. Throw the money at me and I'll stop tomorrow. But I don't want to think this way. It's not like you can say, oh, this guy's clearly been watching this person or that person. I don't sound like anybody else because I don't watch anybody else. My conspiracy theories come from reading what they want me to read. I literally only, like, my only sources are the same ones you guys have. I just read it differently, I guess. Do you believe in the UAP phenomenon? I think it's interesting how so many aspects of society. It's almost like when they gave it to us, they never expected us to be here, right? They didn't expect that the goyim would be on the level that we are, so that they thought they could just get away with it forever. And the newest version of that is actually for me, Chat GPT, because I've said forever that our history just sounds like it's just this fake narrative. And it was always that a group of J writers would sit in the office and try to lay out history. Well, it seemed like there was too much of it to sort of make sense of it. But now that Chat GPT has come into the conversation, it's like, oh, now it makes a lot more sense. Now you understand why so many historical figures have similar names. Why the further back you go, the more the lines intersect, and we get down to, like, these base people who were these polymaths who could do everything, and they could invent, and they could build, and they could sculpt, and they could paint, and they were mathematicians, and they were astronomers, and they were chemists, and they were all these crazy things. And it's because the history was written by the earlier versions of Chat GPT. The where they just fed it as much information as they felt like putting in. It created the narrative, and they never thought that some jackass like me would be able to sit here in 2025, live, talking to anybody who else is asking questions, and just thinks this stuff is interesting, and we could look it up, and we could dissect it. The only time you've ever been encouraged to learn anything is when you were supposed to regurgitate it back. You weren't supposed to look up the history in a skeptical manner. You were supposed to read it and then reword it so that you weren't plagiarizing, and just tell the story back as you're supposed to tell it. You weren't supposed to ask, how did this make sense? How did that make sense? And so now, I haven't believed in aliens for a long time. Um, and I saw a video, I don't know when it was, years ago now, where it was CIA people admitting that just about everything out there is the CIA doing shit and covering it up with alien stories. And the thing that always prevented that from because we always knew that, like, you have to remember, in 1989, the government gave us stealth technology. They were like, look at what we have. We have these stealth bombers. Well, stealth technology goes back to the 40s and maybe as early as the 30s. Who knows how much earlier, but sort of documented as early 40s, late 30s. And you look at all the UFO reports, and how many of them fit the stealth bomber look. A wing, a triangle shape with a. Well, there you go. That's a whole that answers for a whole bunch of them. But still, there was a lot of them that were doing crazy movements and shit. Well, now that drones are something that you and I can own, we can just go to the store and buy them cheap, and they can do crazy shit. And you can see, like, China, the displays that China has been doing, the shows the drone shows that China does. Instead of fireworks or along with fireworks, it's fucking incredible what they can do. And you start learning about these single shot kill drones, and you start learning about all these different, and you go, wait a minute. Do the drones look like what we've thought UFOs were this whole time? And yeah, actually, you know what? They really kind of do, don't they? Now, I still think that I think that the things on the outside come inside. I think the directors, the producers, the famous whoever on the outside that wants to come inside and meet with the famous people on the inside, or maybe even the famous people on the inside want to go out. When people like Putin disappear for like 6 months and nobody sees them, nobody hears from them. Where the fuck do they go? This happens a lot more than you would think. But of course, I'm crazy, right? Because the only two things it could be, and it's actually probably both, is Jesus, God, and the Big Bang, which are actually basically the same narrative. They're just, worded a little differently. But it's only one of those two things, and actually both, because most of you believe in both. Most of you who believe in God and Jesus and Christianity, you also believe in the James Webb Space Telescope. You believe the Earth is round. And it's like most of you clearly don't know what your Bible says. I always ask Christians, and they never know the answer. It's funny to me. You would think you would know more. But when you ask, what's the very first thing God does? So God's face is going along the waters of the deep, right? Looking around the aquarium. He turns on the light. He doesn't make the sun and the moon until the fourth day, which I don't understand how you have day and nights without the sun and moon, but doesn't make the sun and moon until the fourth day, but he did turn on the light. So what's the very first thing God does after it turns on the light? What's up?
I can't use my grenades for some reason.
Okay, well, turn it off and turn it back on.
No, I mean, it says use R, but all I got is two gadgets.
Okay, well, it'll change. I don't know. You'll figure it out.
I'll try your idea.
Did you hear me say it? I didn't say he. I said it. If I do say he, it really doesn't matter. If you're going to get caught up on semantics, it's because you can't argue any other point. So you're desperately trying to hang on to something. But you look at the narratives that we're given and what utter trash they are. Like how stupid they are. Again, I can't... The idea that Christians have been brainwashed into believing that whole narrative, but especially like seriously, the year of honesty. 2020 is the year of 2025 is the year of honesty. Who are the bad guys in the Bible? Right? It's not Satan. The main antagonist in the Bible are Abraham, the children of Abraham. Abraham being the father of the Jays. All three religions are considered Abrahamic religions, so that should tell you something. But they are the bad guys. Your God makes his kid, and they oppose his kid. They are a different religion. There isn't a Christianity yet. So he's like me. He's speaking out against the Jays that control the world. And so they kill him. And you, the followers of that guy, believe that the people that killed him, that they are his father's chosen favorite people. If you don't understand why you're Christian based off of that statement, I don't know how to help you. Like, I want you to understand there's a reason why you're Christian, and it has nothing to do with because you want to be or whatever. You weren't given options. You weren't like, nobody was like, all right, let's leave this kid alone. And then when they get to be, 8, 10, 16, whatever, we'll present them with multiple options. I can't do it at 8. Can you, it's funny the abuse that we put on children that we don't even think about it. As an adult, do you realize how many like how many adults struggle with the idea of death, struggle with the idea of like eternity and comprehending lifetimes and eternity, all that. Like the adults have a hard time comprehending that. So what you tell children is that if they don't follow this impossible set of rules that they've probably already broken a few times already, that when they die, which is something they can't, they just don't really have a concept of, but when they die, they will burn in hell for all of eternity. That's fucking, and this is on top of, the male population being a bunch of children who were violently and viciously assaulted within hours of being born, when they were unnecessarily circumcised. You're then telling this group that if you don't follow this, he's telling these children that they will burn in hell for all of eternity. You also tell these children that, hey, you see these dinosaurs that we've told you to be like all about? You love your dinosaurs. Hey, mommy, daddy, where are the dinosaurs? Oh, well, a rock fell out of the sky and killed them all. They all burned up in a fiery explosion when a rock fell from the sky. Can that happen to us? Well, it can, but it's very far off. It's very far off, son. Well, how do we know it's far off? Because the science that we tell you, hey, shut up and go to church. We're just going to go to church and we'll pray about it. Imagine the damage that we're doing to children when we're telling them this bullshit about dinosaurs. Like, I wish I could take that shit back. Yeah, there was this whole giant superior, much far superior group of beings on this planet, giant monsters that were way tougher than we could ever be. And they were wiped out when a rock fell from the sky. Holy shit. No warning, nothing. It just fell out of the sky. How do rocks fall out of the sky? Aren't rocks on the ground? Yeah, they fly around in the sky. Sometimes they fly around. A rock fell from the sky. Wiped everything out. What? The funny thing is, it's a rock that brought everything here in the first place. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The earth was a bunch of clumps. Formed a planet. Lit itself on fire on the inside. Started raining. Then one day a fucking rock fell from the sky that had some single-celled life on it that survived the fall. And over a really long period of time, that single cell turned into multiple cells. Eventually it turned into one fish, and then that fish turned into a bunch of different kinds of fish, and then a whole bunch of different kinds of fish. And then one day, a fish crawled out of the water and could breathe. Like that's like one day a human walks into the water and can breathe and can breathe. One day, a fish just walks on out of the water and like, I can breathe now. I can breathe air now. Interesting. But that fish then becomes a small lizard, and then a bigger lizard, and then a bigger, and eventually it becomes dinosaurs. And I guess it also becomes different land mammals, because apparently it did. Small little furry creatures and whatnot. And for millions of years, these lizards, they were huge. They were way bigger than we can even imagine. They say that an elephant is as big as a land mammal can be without its stomach falling out and shit. But hey, dinosaurs were fucking something else. giant lizards, crushing. They leave in footprints that still exist billions of years later. Blah. Blah. But eventually another rock falls out of the sky. This time it wipes most of everything out. Some of the little furry creatures, I guess, stay hidden. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, by the way, some of those fish turned into things that could fly. Forgot about that. And so some of the stuff that could fly still existed. And then I guess maybe more fish came out of the water again afterward and started turning into shit like tigers and monkeys and rhinoceroses and giraffes and all these animals that existed. And then eventually the monkeys, they kept turning into stuff. Everything else didn't turn into anything else. The monkeys turned into stuff. The monkeys turned into people. Could you imagine how cool it would be if the tigers turned into people too? The elephants turned into people? No, nothing else. We were the monkeys were the only ones that turned into people. And now here we are, supposedly learned how to fly about 100 years ago. It's not true, but supposedly. And we've had telescopes for about 400 years, supposedly. And we know all this shit. We know about all of it. Galaxies and universes. And the thing is, go watch Superman 2. Marlon Brando is presenting to the Kryptonian clergy, the government, whatever, talking about how a rock's gonna fall, or no, the planet's gonna explode. And he says that in the 29 known galaxies, this is the Earth is something about, but he says the 29 known galaxies. Now understand, they were trying to be as scientific as possible back then. So they probably believed in like 29 galaxies back then. Because if we're saying, we believe it's a gazillion galaxies out there, but the Kryptonians were more advanced than us, they would have known that too. So in the late 70s, we thought there were like 20, 30 galaxies out there. That was the narrative. But if you believe that we just know all this shit, like we know that Big Bang happens and gravity pockets happen and those gravity pockets get to swirling, 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 and eventually they start forming clumps and clumps and bigger clumps and bigger clumps and bigger clumps, and then eventually that clump in the middle of space lights itself on fire, plasma fire, and then in a flat line like a fried egg, more clumps happen and they form the planets, like I say. Except those clumps light the insides themselves on fire. And I mean, come on. Do you know how stupid that whole thing is? You know how stupid it is? And to be told that it's one of those two things. And then again, most people believe it's both. Most of you believe in God one way or another, whether it's dumb Muslim God or dumb Christian God. And you also believe in the James Webb Space Telescope taking pretty pictures. Though you know nothing about the James Webb Space Telescope. You literally, you'll think I'm lying if I tell you about the James Webb. Because it's so stupid. That's how stupid it is. You think the James Webb is just another Hubble. It's not. The Hubble was only able to take pictures. It supposedly orbits the Earth every 90 minutes. So it's only able to take pictures when it's in the Earth's shadow, which is such a short period of time that they can hardly ever actually get any good pictures, right? Not the James Webb. The James Webb is perpetually in Earth's shadow. Well, gee, guy, how does that work? Well, luckily, in like 1770, a guy called Lagrange, his last name was Lagrange. Somehow he knew the size of the Earth, that it was, super round, and that it revolved around the sun, and that it was 93 million miles away from the sun, and how much the sun weighed, and that it was so much heavier than the earth, and somehow he knew all these things. And he correctly theorized that because you can do tests for this on Earth here. You can set up an easy test to see if this works, right? He says that orbiting bodies, well, a sun with planets around. Each planet has these Lagrange points. There are two Lagrange points, or there's one Lagrange point ahead of the planet in its orbit. Two Lagrange points in between the sun and the planet. One Lagrange point behind the planet in its orbit. And one Lagrange point further out, about 1,000,000 to 1.5 million miles further out from the planet in its orbit. And these Lagrange points are these gravity pockets that are created by the Earth, so that if anything gets caught in one of the gravity pockets, it will essentially not need any sort of propulsion and will be pulled along with the Earth as it goes through its orbit perpetually, forever. Good thing, too, because we don't make forever batteries or anything. And this thing lives in this Lagrange point happens to be in the Earth's shadow, right? It's in the Earth's shadow 24 hours a day. So it's not like they could have any solar panels to collect energy. So luckily, this Lagrange point that was theorized in the 1770s by this guy somehow, he was right. And so somehow we were able to build this amazing James Webb Space Telescope, which good luck finding any actual videos on any of it. There's no test footage, because how do you test footage? How do you test anything on it? They launched it by taking it up in one of their space shuttles, opening the back hatches and then letting it fly up. And then when it flowed up, it extended these big long sails that it had, these big golden, made of gold foil sails, like huge football field sized sails. They extended out, one from a line from the top, and then two from the sides, and then the sails were attached like big sails, and then it went off on its journey. Now, imagine, how do you hit the Lagrange if the Earth is moving at 62,000 miles per hour around the sun and it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? Where do you launch it so that it happens to hit this small little Lagrange point 1,000,000 and 1.5 million, 1,000,000 to 1.5 million miles further ahead of you? You would have to launch it like ahead of you. I mean, just think about that. How would you even hit something like that? You're going 62,000 miles per hour around the sun, and you have to hit this Lagrange point, this invisible point. It's not like it's lit up or anything. It's this invisible point where you have to hit it. You have a 1 in a bajillion fulfillion chance. If you don't hit it, I mean, we don't have jets that can go 62,000 miles per hour. You miss that window, it's going to be pretty bad for you. And at the same time, I would imagine when that 62,000 mile per hour force hits whatever it is, that's going to be pretty jarring, don't you think? You're floating out in the gravity of space, and all of a sudden this 62,000 mile per hour wall of, all right, now you're moving. That would be that'd be pretty fucking jarring, don't you think? Understand, as goofy as I may sound, you have to believe this. This is how the James Webb Space Telescope works. Like this, there's no conspiracy theory here. Notice how you won't see anybody that comes in the comments and says, no, you're wrong, and James Webb, they can't say shit. Nobody's gonna say anything. This is what you have to believe. And now the James Webb doesn't take pictures, mind you. No. It takes infrared pictures. And then it transfers that infrared message all the way back that 1,000,000 to 1.5 million miles, depending on where it is in orbit, back to the Earth, where another computer catches it, and it decodes that infrared imagery into either a program that's been designed by a human to decode imagery into picture, or like it's been proven and said many times that they hire artists that supposedly decipher the data that's given to them. How do you even train for that? As an artist, how do you train to read infrared digital imagery, digital code, and turn that into a pretty picture? How does that even fucking work? Can anybody even attempt to answer that? Can anybody attempt to answer any of this? I never thought about the whole getting hit by the fucking gravity, getting hit by the Lagrange point. That would destroy the fucking telescope. You get that, right? There's no way you get caught up in this Lagrange point traveling 62,000 miles per hour, even if you're going full speed in that same direction. Like, if you're going 30 miles an hour and somebody comes up from behind you at 50 and slams into you, you're going to get, jacked the fuck up. So if we have a rocket, if this thing is somehow traveling in the right direction, how fast could it possibly be going? It's not going anywhere near 62,000 miles per hour. It would be destroyed by that Lagrange point. Just absolutely obliterated. But the hard part is, again, I've actually looked into all of this. So to think that somebody on here is going to come make some sort of intelligent argument when I'm using the information we're supposed to have, I'm just presenting it to you. If what I'm saying to you makes sense, by all means, believe it. If you don't want to think about what it'd feel like to get hit by a 62,000 mile per hour gravity wave, okay. I just don't know what to tell you. That's the whiplash times a gajillion right there. Well, times what? 62,000. But this is what, your average person, your average Christian absolutely believes in this. You got all these dumbasses in the comments that are going to, what part's not true? Like, this is exactly the narrative you're supposed to believe. I don't expect you to do shit. I expect you to go get your free download, www.the-bilderberg, group.com. The link will be in the description. If you need to go now, just go look at the previous video. It'll be in the link there. But absolutely, go get your free download. That's what I expect of you. If you want to throw some cash in there, please do. But definitely get the free download. If you're sick of mindless music that you're just... Like, do you ever wonder or notice that when it comes to rap music, they have us all nodding yes to the worst shit in the world? Oh yeah, fucking bitches, hoes, niggas, bitches, hoes, niggas, bitches, hoes. Oh yeah, drugs and bitches and killing and niggas and murder, niggas, murder, chains and bitches. We even say it. Yeah, They have all of you nodding yes to the worst things in the world. In the 7 days a week, in the let you get 50. I mean, the idea of any word not being used is stupid. These are words. If you let anybody offend you with words, you're the dumbass. Not the person saying the words. They're words. Who gives a fuck? Like, it's so crazy to me that we've been manipulated into believing that we have to be the society that if somebody doesn't like what you're saying, you can't say it. Why isn't it? If you don't like what that person's saying, then tell them what they're wrong about. Either leave or tell them what they're wrong about. Try to educate people. If you're gonna have a problem with it, then nobody's telling you not to have the problem. But if you're gonna engage in the conversation, you have to be willing to be wrong. Like this is what we have to do. We have to better ourselves. We have to be better. And we're not being better. We're allowing ourselves to like fight over the dumbest shit. Should gay and trans people have rights? Of course they should. Why the fuck not? I'm never worried, but like it's crazy how many people do the bathroom argument. Like trans people haven't been using bathrooms the whole time. I've never heard that story. Do you know the story of the guy dressing like the straight man dressing like a woman so he can sneak into the bathroom and then violate little girls? Have you ever heard that story before? If you have heard that story, is it more times than you've heard the guy in the robe at the church violates a bunch of kids and then gets moved from one church to the next until he finally gets in so much trouble that has to get sent to the Vatican where he lives his life in penance instead of going to prison? How many times have you heard that story in comparison? And you want to talk about what a danger, oh, I don't want it pushed on our kids. I don't want it pushed on our kids. If you're dumb enough to think you can make a kid like be something they're not, you're a fucking idiot. You don't have kids. It's that simple. You must not have kids if you're that stupid. Because that's not how kids work. There's no way I could have put dresses and all that shit on my kids growing up and they would have taken it. My kids used to grab sticks and just hit shit with sticks. Bop, bop, bop. They didn't give a fuck. They were just boys. Dumb boys. Just banging shit. Hitting shit with sticks. You know, they didn't want anything to do with girly stuff, and I couldn't have pushed that on them. And the thing is, again, if you're stupid enough to think that, oh, a transgender person reading a book to children will make them fucking transgender, like, then you should start a program called Doctors Reading to Children, so that a doctor can come in on his day off or whatever, and he'll read a book to the children, and then they'll all become doctors. Right? Because that's how that works. If the person, well, you know what? You better hope you don't read books to your kids because they'll become you then, right? No, if they experience, one time they experience that, hey, this person isn't a scary monster. They're actually kind of nice. Oh, I guess all that hatred's for nothing. Yeah, that's going to make them, they're going to be, like if your child is attracted to transgender, if your child's like, hey, I want to watch that RuPaul show, then that's what they're gonna do. Like that doesn't appeal to non-transgender people. Cartoons about the gay cartoons and stuff, they don't appeal to kids that aren't gay. Actually, you know what? When I was a kid, and you know, didn't have cable and shit, He-Man would come on, and then after He-Man, She-Ra would come on. And sometimes He-Man would be a guest star on She-Ra. But it was either watch She-Ra or watch like Green Acres or some shit. So I used to watch She-Ra all the time, not because I liked it, because I wanted He-Man to be there, which if you look at it, He-Man is a way more homoerotic cartoon than She-Ra. Yeah. If anything, She-Ra should have appealed. But it was you know, to think that like it's one of the things that always happens is stupid adults put their stupid adult perspective on things. So like they don't understand that when you tell a kid like a third grader or a first grader or whatever, you know, that gay means boys that like boys and don't like girls. Well, no girls allowed on the sign. Like, you tell a little boy that, the little boy doesn't go, oh, penises and butts and mouths. Oh, okay, I get you. They go, oh, well, I don't like girls either. I'm gay. And that's all they think. They have no concept of penises and butts and mouths and all that shit. You need to get over your stupidity. Little kids saying that, and then when you start to like explain it to them, and you're like, no, no, no. That means like boys like to kiss each other like mommies and daddies do, and they go, oh, no, okay, no, I'm not that. Or they go, oh, that sounds good. Then you know. They say, oh, that sounds good. No, you go play football. Is that what you do? Is that your solution? It's amazing how stupid they have us. And they have us fighting each other. And they have us divided because, instead of having the gay and straight population working together to make things better and out this chosen narrative. What's up, bud?
For some reason it's still not working. I can't use my bombs.
All right, I'll be down in a minute. Instead of us working together, they have us divided over stupid shit like what people like to do behind closed doors, what skin color we are, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't care less what you're doing. As long as you're not fucking with children or fucking with people against their will, I don't give a fuck. Bitch. I think prostitution should be legal. Like, I don't understand us telling, rich people telling other people how they need to live life when they have no concept of it. Did you turn it off and restart it?
Yeah, look. See if you see.
Okay, do you not have them yet? Put it on.
I got purple bombs.
You don't have any.
What?
You don't have any ammo.
But wait, it should still say 0, right?
What?
The bottom should say 0 in the bottom left of my screen.
I don't know. See if you buy some.
I did.
Do your ammo refill. Just do the ammo refill. $30. Okay, now throw it.
Alright, wait, I did.
Now throw. Go.
That's a robot.
No, this one.
Huh?
Let me see. There it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's a gadget.
Oh, then maybe your guy doesn't have grenade ability.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I wouldn't use him.
Not big enough, not change it.
Well, look it up. Before you change your mind, just have your brother look it up real quick.
Look it up real quick. Can the gadget guy in Borderlands 3 Hey.
Like this is we have to be at our best. We have to be at our best. It's time we move past this. Kids aren't old enough to make those decisions yet. Anything involving sex should stay out of the kid's life. It's a parent's job to inform them of something like that. You're such a goof. You're such a goof. Where do you think, like it's crazy how people act like if they see one gay cartoon, that's like the whole. Did you guys ever watch that? Remember that big fiasco over the Arthur cartoon? Well, the thing about that Arthur cartoon, if you watched it, almost like I'd say 90% of the cartoon, you thought that he was getting married to a woman who was really bad for him. And the kids were like, he shouldn't marry this woman. It turns out it's his sister, and she's the wedding planner. But the narrative is like that bad marriages happen all the time. And then at the very end, you realize that he's marrying the chocolate store owner. And they literally show them walk down the aisle together. I can't remember if they hold hands or not for a second. But then they show them again and they're dancing like this. Fast dancing with their hands in the air. Not even like 3 feet apart still. There's literally nothing sexual about it. And it only shows that it's just cool that two people that dig each other found each other. And that's all the kid would get from it. The kid wouldn't get any sort of... The kids don't think like that. But for you to pretend like that one cartoon outweighs all of the other, like even Popeye. Popeye's on TV right now. The idea of Popeye and Bluto are like fighting over this piece of shit Olive, who's like a piece of property, but she's also a total piece of shit who plays these guys against each other, and you know, like heterosexual relationships and heterosexual shit is overtly advertised to our children across the fucking board, from cartoons to kid shows. It's everywhere. So pretending like being aware of gay stuff is somehow pushing it on children, like it's just insane to me how stupid people get. They see way, way more heterosexual shit than they'll ever see gay stuff. Ever even come close to see it. Look right here, heterosexual Popeye. They're both fighting over this olive oil. Why are they fighting over olive oil? Mommy and Daddy, well, what are they gonna do with it? Like, it's all look. Oh, big muscly guy. Other, they're about to fight, and oh, that's okay. But show some gay people in a cartoon, and oh, that's too much. The kid can't handle it. They're too young. They're too young. No, they're not. And again, you're thinking about it too much. No kid thinks about gay like you think about gay. If you say, oh, when they're like, Mommy, why is that guy holding that other guy's hand? Why did they just kiss? And you go, oh, well, they're a gay couple. The kid doesn't go, oh, so he then bends him over and he's fucking him up his ass like that. And then they wash it off, maybe. I don't know. Do they even wash it off, or do they just go right to the blowjobs? Is that what they do, Mommy and Daddy? No. Kids don't think about that shit, you goof. Kids think nothing even, they have no idea. Like I say, if you tell them that it's when boys like boys, the kids are going to be like, oh, well, I'm gay because I don't like girls. Susie Milkowitz is mean to me in school, and I don't like girls. They're stupid. I'm gay. They have no idea what they're talking about. And then when you say to them, baby, it's not, no, they like each other. Like, how Mommy and Daddy, we kiss each other, and we share a room together, and we like that. That's what gay means. They're going to go, oh, what do you mean? Or they're going to go, that sounds nice.
A Redford Mormon.
What's up? Oh, it's time.
I can't use grenades till level 11.
Okay, well, it's worth it then. Just keep going. You'll be fine. You'll be 11 in no time.
A Redford Mormon walking around Redford talking.
Cool. I mean, it's everywhere. Are you talking about a 50-year-old cartoon? Yeah. This is a 50-year-old cartoon. Nowadays, we get shit like Bratz, and I don't know. I don't know what little kid cartoon, little girl cartoon. Thankfully, I didn't have to watch that bullshit. But there are plenty of girl cartoons out there, and sex is literally everywhere. If you think you can shield your children from any of it, you're stupid. So instead of you explaining to them something reasonable like, hey, that's, those guys like each other like Mommy and Daddy like each other. Instead of explaining it to them like that, and then if it does get any deeper, you go, no, it's okay, baby. You're not old enough yet. Like, I can tell you, my kids grew up with lots of that, and they were totally okay with it. Our kids would ask us shit all the time, and we'd say, we'd talk to them about certain parts, and other parts we'd say, you know what, you guys are a little too young. We'll tell you when you get older. And they'd say, okay. They might be like, oh, come on, tell us, please. And we're like, no, not this time. This one's a little bad. You'll get it. Don't worry. And all they want to do is be acknowledged. They don't necessarily need to be answered. They just, okay, I understand you want to know. It's cool. And you'll get to know. You don't have to tell them everything. But if you can't talk to you probably hit your kids, right? You're probably somebody that hits your children because God forbid you talk to them, right? God forbid, instead of waiting till they're too big to spank them anymore and then you start talking, you talk to them from the beginning instead of hitting them like a fucking savage. like a piece of trash, savage, motherfucking, awful, awful person. Sorry, bud.
No, he needs a charger.
I'm sorry. I'll throw you that. Where's the red one? Use the red one. You're not using it.
Dad,
Use the red one, Gus.
it's so trash that you have to wait till level 11.
No, it's worth it. Your guy will be worth it. Don't worry. They do that because he's probably too awesome without it. See, you just gotta know how to talk to him. You know, this whole gay thing is such a crazy distraction. You look at when Pride Month is, you know. Pride Month is in June, which is conveniently just after Passover
Rainbow.
every year. So that anything that because the Jays really like to kill people during Passover. Really, like every year, if you look back, every year there's an escalation that occurs during that week.
Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely. It's crazy because it fits the crazy cult that we're talking about. I mean, it's not crazy like, oh shit, I can't believe it. It's crazy like because they're fucking crazy. But anything that comes up is then immediately pushed to the back burner because somebody's having a gay pride this or somebody that, or that same picture of that same black transgender woman in pink reading books to children in an elementary school is circulating the web again.
That turned them all gay.
Right. Because again, you know, you should have had your kids getting read to by doctors. Instead, that one time the transgender read to them and now they're transgender. Like, if that appeals to your kid, it's because they have some stuff going on. Otherwise, your straight kid is probably going to think it's kind of goofy. He's going to be like, Dad, Mom, this man that was a woman, but it didn't look like you, Mommy. He had big hair and big makeup all over his face, and he was huge and had big muscles. He read us a book today, and it was nice. He read us a nice book, and it was nice. I'm gonna be that. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Do you know how ridiculous you are if you fall for that shit? Hang on. I think the comments are messed up. Maybe not. Like, it's all about communicating. And if you can't talk to your children, if you hit them, you're fooling. In what circumstances in an adult life do you ever get spanked? And even if you think about it, if you're gonna go to the sex right away, why? Why do we do that? Isn't that weird? When you think about it, like, why the hell do we all do that? I mean, we all do it because we've been shown Beavis and Butthead, and we've seen the dances, and we, you know, growing up, we were all influenced. You know, the straight people were all influenced by a bunch of gay guys pretending to be straight in the rap industry, telling everybody that the only way to do it is to hit it from the back, focus on the butts. We want a chick with, like Kanye says, upstairs 2 bee stings and a big butt down below, you know, looking like a kid. But you know, we're surprised that all these gay guys made all these songs telling us, you know, it's just goofy. It's goofy, and we all fall for it. Like, you know, like, it doesn't make all the sense in the world. And then you look at the rumors and you look at the narratives that we are given about how the music industry works. Do you honestly think that, like, you get your band and you work really hard, and then you get in a van and you guys go and you book gigs all over the country, just especially before there were cell phones and websites and shit. You would just get your like your yellow pages for each town you went to, and you just start calling random bars, and they'd be like, okay, we'll let you play sight unseen. And you just build yourself up this following that you then, eventually your gigs get bigger and bigger, and then some J, you know, a couple of J's fight over your ownership and absolutely fuck you. Absolutely fuck you. Especially if you're like, some young black kid in the hood, maybe uneducated, whatever. Right? Anything like that. They you read these contracts, you hear about these narratives of these. It's all J's. It's literally all J's. Exploiting the fuck out of people, owning their publishing. There's a Dave Chappelle bit. It's a 12-minute bit, I think, or something like, maybe it's 8 minutes, I don't know. But it's about it's a whole thing about the Chappelle show and how he wants you to boycott the Chappelle show. But he tells the story about how they made him sign over his likeness and all of his name and his likeness. They own it in perpetuity throughout the universe forever and ever. And how, you sign these deals when you're young and hungry and you don't know better and you don't know how to read the speak and you don't have a J with you, or even you do have a J with you, but they're in their pocket as well, and they're just there to make you think that you're getting a good deal. At the end of the day, that the music industry doesn't exist on, them making like 5% and you making 95% is utter bullshit. Because they could make, still make a really good living and live good lives making that 5% off of people. But it's not even the other way around. You make less than 5% when you sign with these fucking people. And people go, well, how does that happen? How do people get involved in that? And I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again. You don't realize how the shit works, right? So let's say you're this starving artist. Your bills are all piling up. You're really pushing yourself. But I mean, again, when you're an artist, you find out like it's kind of difficult. It's more difficult than you think. And you'll end up doing the same places and you'll see the same faces, and it's really kind of weird how it all works, especially if you're doing something different. But you're starving, you got a baby on the way, whatever it may be. One day the phone rings and you're like, yeah, hey, what's going on? Hello? You don't even recognize the number. What the fuck, hello? Hi, this is Irving Shinglestein, Irving Greenberg with XYZ Record Company. How you doing today? And you're like, good. They're like, yeah, we got a hold of one of your tapes, or we got turned on to your website or whatever, and Dr. Dre said he really likes what he heard, and we'd like you to come on out, fly out to New York, and maybe we can talk some business. Are you free? Are you able to do that? And you're like, yeah, hang on, let me check for a second. And you do the proverbial, we've all seen the movie where you put, and you shit your pants a little bit, and yeah, what are we doing? How does this work? And they go, oh, don't worry. You're going to, Mr. Williams, you're going to be first class all the way. Welcome to rock star life. We're going to pay for your airline ticket, first class, of course. And we're going to, we're going to have a car pick you up, and we're going to bring you to the hotel. Just pack your bags. Your life is about to change. And you're like, oh my God, oh my God. Pack your bags. You go to the airport, you get in your first class seat. You've never flown first class in your life. You're like, this is unreal. You're like, fuck it, I'm a rock star. I can have a couple of drinks. It's okay. Have yourself a couple of drinks. You get to you land, all the stewardesses and everything. They're hello, hello. You walk out, and it's just like a fucking movie. There's a guy standing there with a sign with your name on it, Williams, and you're like, is that for me? And you're like, yeah, Guy Williams, this is you. Come on, let's go, buddy. Oh man, I heard your shit. It's amazing. Can't wait to. I'm so glad you're gonna be a part of this team. And you're like, what? You've heard my stuff? And he's like, yeah, I got it playing right now. And you're riding around New York on your way to the hotel or to the record company. The guy's like, man, I love this track. I've been listening to it all day. This is so good. And you're like, holy crap, thanks, man. I've worked really hard, It's been a struggle. I can't believe I'm here. And he's like, oh, man, don't worry. Your whole life's about to change, buddy. This is going to be amazing. And you're like, oh, man. He's like, don't forget about me, all right? And you're like, no, dog, for sure. I'm never going to forget you, man. This is amazing. And you get to the record company. And you walk in and everybody's like, oh, Mr. Williams, hey, we heard your songs. Oh, this is so great. Good to see you. Come on, yeah. And you're like, what? Everybody here knows me? The security's like, Mr. Williams, good. We've heard. And you're like, what is going on here? And you go up to the top floor and you open the door. The door's open and you see all these platinum fucking plaques and records on the walls and shit. The whole place is red, and it's like, what is going? This is awesome. And you go walking in, and you look, and the Dr. Dre's sitting in a corner over there, and he's like, hey, what's up? I'll get to you in a minute. What's up, brother? You're like, hey, Dr. Dre, how's it going? And you go over here, and there's another artist, blah blah, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. And you're trying to be cool, because you're a G. Because if you're a rapper, then you got to be a G. Even though you're probably a closet homosexual, at least, they're hoping you are. So they bring you into the meeting and they're like, yo, what's up? Everybody's all love and daps and hugs. And man, we're thinking we might get.
Black thing to go in the red Charger?
I don't know where that is. It's downstairs. You got to look for it. I've given you it. They're like, man, Dr. Dre wants to produce you. We're going to make a hit. We're going to make a. You know what? Forget this. It's getting late in the day because they planned it this way. You've flown in. It's like, 3 o'clock or whatever, 2:30. Like, man, it's 2:33. I know you think we check out of here a little early, And you're like, yeah, okay, cool. And they're like, welcome to Rockstar Life. Why don't we go have a good night out of the town? You'll see what it's like. And if you like everything we're doing, we'll talk numbers tomorrow, and you sign you up, and we'll change things. We'll change your life, homie. You're like, all right, Diddy, no problem, Diddy. So they take you now. You're just starstruck, and you can't believe this is all really happening to you. And you go get into the limousine, and you're riding through New York with Diddy, with whoever, with there's probably a couple of J's that are there too, but you're like, I don't know who those people are. You go out to eat at a restaurant, and you walk in, and even the maitre d' is like, oh, hey, I heard your new song. He said, yeah, it's good stuff. I saw it. And you're like, this guy's even heard me? And they're like, yeah, everywhere we go, we do it big. And you go have like the best filet. The chef comes out to meet you. Hey, how are you? We look forward to seeing you again. And you're just like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. And they take you out, and you go to one club, you go to another club. They take you to the strip club. You're in the VIP room, and you're not used to it. It's happening around you. There are famous people. You didn't even know these famous people knew each other. Holy shit, is that Sarah Jessica Parker? Is that fucking, I don't know famous people, whatever, but you're in these VIP rooms with these famous people, and you're watching as they just treat people like shit. And you're like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe, like, they have all this money, and And yeah, I guess they pay for it, but they throw shit at people. They're just kind of rude. It's really weird. And so you're like, man, you're kind of, you're either get totally engulfed in it and lose your fucking mind and act a fool, but I would imagine more often than not, you're probably just completely overwhelmed. And at some point, you go to the bathroom, like, I gotta, and you go into the bathroom and you're doing that in the mirror thing, like, okay, pull it together. You're the man. They love you. That's why you're here. I told you you could do this, man. You did this, dog. You're just hyping yourself up, trying to keep yourself cool. So then you go out and you're like, all right, hey, you know what? Let's do this. I'm gonna enjoy this, and you get yourself. They're like, yeah, here's a drink, and you take your drink, and you start partying, and you just you start dancing, loosening up a little bit, and then you wake up and your alarm's going off. Bang, bang, bang. And you're like, what the fuck? Alarm's going off. Man, what the? What? Oh. You turn it off, not realizing, it's been going off for like 20 minutes, but you just been dead to the world. And you're sort of like laying there, like in this giant bed. You probably even have maybe some girls are in that bed. Who knows? No, you know what? Not this time. You're laying in this bed all by yourself. You're naked. You're like, what the fuck happened to me? How did I get into this bed? How did I get here? I was, I was out with Diddy and we were having a good time, and I went in the bathroom and I came out and then oh shit, it's 9:30. I gotta go. Oh my god, I'm late. I gotta get. Oh shit. And you jump up and you get yourself together. And you realize you're like 20, 30 minutes late, whatever. You run downstairs in the hotel and you're like, hey, can you guys give me a car? And they're like, excuse me, sir, can we help you? And you're like, yeah, it's me. Remember? And they're like, sir, you're gonna have to get yourself a car. We're busy right now. You can call an Uber. And you're like, what? Okay. I don't have time for this. All right, whatever. Jump in get your Uber, hail your taxi, whatever. You don't have much money on you because you didn't think about it like that. But you're like, oh shit, okay, let's make this happen. You get yourself to the restaurant. Where are you going? And you tell him, and he's like, oh, okay, buddy. You're like, what the fuck? Why is he? Why would you laugh, man? What's up? You're like, you know, no, good luck to you, buddy. Sorry about that. What the fuck? You're like, whatever. You get there, you go running up to the front doors, and they're like, yes, can we help you? And you're like, hey, it's me. It's Guy. I was here yesterday, and they're like, hang on a second, sir. Like, sir, what? You guys, what do you mean? What's going on? And they're like, all right, Mr. Williams, we'll let you in. They let you in, and front desk, same sort of thing. You're like, what is going on? Can you please just go have a seat over there, please? And you're like, oh, okay. Okay. You go sit down. You see Dr. Dre again. Hey, Dr. Dre, what's up? And he's like, and just walks off. And you're like, what the hell? Okay, whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's, did I do something? Like, what's going on? Finally, they're like, all right, they'll see you now. They'll see me now. Okay, whatever. And you go into the room, and now suddenly you're sitting there, and there's a whole bunch of J's you've never seen before. And there's Diddy, or there's whoever the original person was, and they're like, all right, this is Seth Greenberg, and this is Irving Bergstein, and this is David Steenberg, and they go around Goldman and Silverman, and they just go around the group, and you're like, okay, what are these people? And they're like, all right, well, we're here, and we've gone over some of the numbers, and we're prepared to take you to On some initial trial levels at first, we're going to do some regional stuff. We're going to have you on a little bit of a tour, probably out of the states for a while. We're just going to test to see how things go. Uh, Not going to be the most glamorous, but it'll gauge how things are. And you're like, what? I thought Dr. Dre was gonna produce the. Oh no, he definitely will. We have to do some testing first. We just have to see. You've done some great work, but we have to just see. So this is the deal we're prepared to offer you. And they slide it over, and you start reading, and you're like, what? What do you mean my likeness for all of perpetuity, forever and ever throughout the universe? And they're like, oh, that's just some Hollywood speak. It's just anytime anything has to go with this, we have to protect the image and the brand. So, anytime somebody wants to use your stuff, this is to protect you. And you're like, oh, okay, but it says you own my likeness. And they're like, yeah, well, here we're all one big family here. And you're like, okay. What's up, dude?
How do I equip the what mission do I have to do to get the booster?
I have no idea, dude.
No, the boosters that like
I have no idea, dude.
don't remember the booster.
I have no idea, dude. So you continue reading, and you're like, this says I'm gonna get like half a cent on every dollar sold. What do you mean half a cent on every dollar sold? How does that work? Well, we're gonna give you a bit of an advance that you're gonna have to pay back, and we're gonna get that off the top of any sales. Plus, we're gonna have to invest a bunch of money into you, which we're gonna have to get back. So, blah 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 blah. You end up with and you're like, no, you know what? I think I might need to get a lawyer or something because I kind of don't feel like this is a very good deal. And they're like, really? You don't feel like it's a good deal, huh?
Next.
And you go, yeah. And they go, all right, hit the lights. And the lights go dim, and they close the shutters or whatever, blinds. All right, hit play. And you're like, hit play. And you look at the TV screen, and it's probably like, 4 screens or something like that, just for the effect. And you see yourself doing some horrible things or having some horrible things done to you by some drugged up kid or something like that. And you're going, wait, what? That what do you mean? That's me? What? And it's like you still don't remember it, but now it's making sense to you why you just woke up that morning and had no recollection of what happened to you. And you're like, what? And they're like, yeah, we have this. There's a lot of it. You want to keep watching, or do you want to sign? Because if you don't want to sign, we can always just release these tapes and say we never had anything to do with you, and we just found these tapes. You'll just disappear. You'll just go into the prison as an offender, and nobody's going to believe you. And you don't have anything to fight that with. You're just some dumb me. And that's how they get you. That's what Epstein was all about. Setting people up in those kinds of circumstances and then showing them the tape and being like, all right, this is what we want. We are Israel. Yeah, my music's terrible. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Just like my live feeds are terrible that you watch every day. Just like all of my arguments are terrible that you don't debunk. I'm just terrible. I got you. I don't think everybody's gonna like my shit. I think there are plenty of people out there that'll be refreshed by it. That have wanted, been sick of nodding yes to the worst things in the world, and they want to hear some shit that makes them think, makes them feel good, makes them feel better, not just bitches and hoes and teeth and shooting niggas and bitches and killing them niggas and killing the bitches and killing. It's all awful. It's the worst shit. And yup. If you're sick of that shit, We've got it. You know, I'm too old for that shit. When I was in my 20s running around in Musk, bumping, that shit used to be fun. There's a time and place. But really, you know what? I didn't have the other option. If I would have had my shit growing up, I would have absolutely listened to it. I listen to everything. You know? So if I would have had access to what I do, I would have been all about it. What we do. I don't want to take all the credit. So clearly we've been completely shut down. And as always, I appreciate everyone for being here. Even the dumb trolls, they make the fucking video that much better. Everyone else, have yourself a wonderful day. And as always, all you pedophiles, kill yourself. Oh, yeah, get your free download. www.the-bilderberg-group.com. It's free. Uh-oh. Jordan. It's free. Go get it. Other than that, pedophiles, kill yourself. The link's in the description. Pedophiles, kill yourself.